Welcome to the greatest ad in this world this week with Fraser. How you doing, buddy?
I am great. I'm so excited for this advert because I told you not to watch this, and I'm hoping
I
you
have
haven't
not seen
watched
it.
this.
Full disclosure, I
Okay,
have
all right,
not
good.
seen a
Okay.
second of it.
This is, I have not seen this done before, like this angle. Okay. I haven't seen this done before, and I don't know why. So to give you the brief, this is like it's like a way to teach your kids like great money skills. Okay, so like instead of giving your kid like their allowance in cash or like on any kind of like credit card or whatever, instead it's like an app with a card, and the parents control the money, right? So they can deposit $30 in there, whatever, and the parent will get a notification every time they spend, and they can put more money in there. It's a great app, fantastic idea, but the way that they have advertised it is brilliant. Okay, so
That's brilliant. Okay.
It's really great, right? Okay, ready? Okay, press play with me. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Secret tool to being super smart with money. With Spriggy, I'm on top of my saving and spending. First, Mum decides how much and when she wants to give me my allowance. And if I want a bit more, Mum can add chores for me to do on the app. I can see how much I have on the app.
And I can see where she spends it with real-time notifications.
Wow. Okay.
It's such a good advert. Let's talk about this. They have a kid doing UGC. I've not seen this before, but I think it makes perfect sense for an advert which is essentially for kids, but is also for the adults, that we hear both sides of the story. We've made ads.
Good.
Right, we have made ads for educational tool for kids, and we always focus on the adults. We always focus on them because that's who's going to be spending the money. That's who's going to be actually operating it, right?
Yeah.
However, the parents want to hear about the kids as well, and especially when it's about teaching them something like money skills. You want to hear from the kid, and I love that. I love that they've included this. And tell me if this was top of the funnel, you know everything what that app does, right?
100%.
Like you know everything.
In 5, like I got it in 10 seconds. Like, and it is like the world's best Dragon's Den pitch. Just like, here's my money. Done.
I got it. Exactly, right? And what more do you need from an ad creative? You need nothing more, all right? So tick boxes.
So
we are including the target audience, both sides of the target audience. We've listed all the USPs, all the feature benefits. We know what it does. We know what it is as well. It's a card and it's an app. We've ticked all the boxes. Done. And then they have a really great offer. Start your free trial today. Boom. Click. That's their CTA on platform. Click it. Done. Such a good advert.
That's incredible. Like
I have not seen something like this. When I saw it, and the reason it stopped me, because, I was going through an absolute sea of ads to find this. The reason it stopped me, because I was like, why is there like a 12-year-old girl on an advert? Like already that's stopping me, because I'm like, what is this? If this was to autoplay on my timeline and you are a parent, you're probably going to watch it, because you're like, why is this 12-year-old girl talking to me on my screen? You're going to watch it. And just the beautiful roundup is when they pass the parent at the end, and she gives her side of it, of what it's like for her to use it, shows the feature, shows the notification. Boom. Perfect.
Oh man. I mean, like, I think it's just so smooth, right? And like, I think,
It's great.
no, it's incredible. And I mean, first off, I think the product is phenomenal. The brand
fantastic.
Definitely nailed what they're doing. Spriggy, well done. Fantastic. Make sure to drop them a link down below. And the 30-day trial is great. I love this, and I think it's amazing in that, like, it's stopping me just because I'm like, what is this? Because it's so different, right? It's a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pattern interrupt, right?
Yeah.
But then the fact that, like, I get it so fast is incredible. I mean, usually I like to ask you, like, why. I mean, I do have a couple of questions on, like, why this, like, what you think about stuff, but also, like, this one is just so readily apparent of, like, why it's amazing.
Yeah.
So instead of asking why this is so good, because I think it's readily apparent, let me ask you 3 questions as to like what I can do with this. So like, not everybody has products that include children, obviously.
Yeah.
But one of the sides of this that I think is so exciting is what you're talking about, how it's showing both sides of the relationship.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know more about like how you think I could appropriate that. I mean, into other brands, right?
Yeah.
Into other products, because we're not always buying for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, and especially, you know, like this time of the year, like, you know, Black Friday, holiday, all that kind of stuff. Chances are, I mean, I read a stat somewhere that said like 80% of people which are buying on Black Friday are buying for someone else, right? And this is the thing, right? One of my favorite ad styles to do is the gifting angle, right? I bought this for my boyfriend because of X, right? Let's flip that. Let's hear from the girlfriend saying why she bought it, and then let's hear from the boyfriend of why he loves it so much. That's how you can recreate this. Okay, same thing. You're just hearing from, you know, you're hearing from both parties. What we find in general is having more than one person in your like UGC actually performs really well. Like, but not in the way of a mashup, because that's what everyone thinks when they think of multiple people in a UGC video. But instead, having like 2 people in the same environment, you can see that they're related to one another. That works really well. We just did one where for Chomps, where it's this guy and he's like, I want to put to the test how good Chomps is. My friends just come round. It's going to be a blind taste test. Okay. And the guy's like filming his mate, and just that interaction and that thing of having 2 people in the advert works wonders. It just makes it feel more organic, makes it feel less of an advert.
I find that so interesting too, because like I immediately went to like, you know, that gifting to somebody, but Chomps, I mean, sure, you should give somebody Chomps, but that's not really what it's all about. I think the big takeaway for me there is the like, if you're having 2 people discuss something, then it's not somebody selling you. And I think that's a huge thing. We were talking too before this about our backgrounds in radio. And like, one of the beautiful things with radio is, you see this especially in like morning shows, right? If the cast works well together, you feel like you're a friend, even though they have no idea who you are. And I think there's some implied like relationship where like you getting to see a conversation shows you so much more than somebody talking at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why so many UGC videos are so similar. You know, I bet if I scroll down my feed now, you know, the majority of them will be essentially UGC spokesperson ads. That's what they are, really.
I'm obsessed. I saw this on TikTok.
Yeah,
I already don't care.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, like, they do perform really well. We make a load of them. But if you want to stand out, which is so important with UGC, because it's all, and you know, anyone seems to make now, if you want to stand out from that, then you need to do something a little bit different. And that's why I think this video works so well. And also, like, there's some other little bits. I have this freeze frame up here. She's getting the notification of her daughter, like, spending in the car. Okay, it might seem like a tiny little detail, but that there is showing that she can keep track of her child's spending from anywhere. She's not sat on the sofa at home with her child next to her or upstairs, whatever. She's in the car. She's doing her shopping while her daughter's out with her friends, right? Amazing. It's just that little, you know, the little sprinkles that they've added in this, which really pull it all together.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Because it's also, what's interesting is, I mean, it's kind of going through the features and benefits.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's essentially what the ad is, yeah.
But it's showing it in a way of, like, not listing things.
Mm-hmm.
This is giving me the features and benefits from the perspective of how I'm going to feel and what my experience is. Like we were talking also before, this is Dandy Del Mar, so is this. Like, I look at their ads and I'm just like, I wish I had money in 1978 in Corsica. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with my life. Like, I want that. It's funny, Danny Del Mar was actually in the 2nd season of White Lotus. The, like, British guy that's in there as wearing a Danny Del Mar shirt. And I was like, I'm wearing that shirt right now. And it's like, you want that lifestyle. It was funny.
Yeah. And this is the thing, people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, oh, I want that level of control and safety over my children, right? And I want to, and I love that the main thing they're doing here is because essentially it's a way to, control your children and to help them, right? But what they're going for here is, are you confident about teaching your kids money skills? They're not going for control what your kids are spending. It's like, let's teach your children money management, which is such an important skill. And a lot of parents are probably thinking, how the hell can I teach my child the value of money? How can I, and that's what they're doing. So they're going for the emotional play here instead of, the other ways that you could advertise this app.
Oh, no, it's amazing. Okay.
Such a good ad.
I do have 2 questions though. Legitimately about the ad, now that we've gone through this thing. First, on the setup, I'm seeing 2 sets of there's captions, but then there's also this text overlay and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that a problem that it feels kind of busy, or is that what I need to set to give me the setting? Because it does go away after 5 seconds or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. We use this quite a lot. It takes me back to the days when I used to build meme pages, right? And we used to call that a meme headliner, right? It's essentially context, right? It's a context headliner. It grabs you off the feed, especially when you're on Facebook, and especially probably the generation that they're aiming this at, which is parents. It's just an easy way to get the information that you need. My secret tool to being super smart with money. Straight away, they've grabbed it. And it's also, I think this kind of works as well because it's a kid that it's above. It was the parent speaking and that was above them. I think it might feel a little bit different, but instead this is a child saying, this is my secret to being super smart with money. So yeah, I think it looks a little bit cluttered. I'd prefer it to be further up, in terms of design. I prefer this to be further up, all the way to the top of the image, to give a bit more breathing room for everything in terms of design. But I think these types of meme headlines are very useful.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with that being further up, and then the captions feel like they're kind of centered when I'm used to them being a bit lower. But
yeah,
again, I guess this thing disappears.
Yeah, it definitely is. Again, I'm pretty sure this has. No, I thought it would have another placement, but it doesn't. But it needs to be, it needs to be pushed a little bit more, just so we can, just a bit of breathing room on the advert, because it suddenly gets much better when it's just the captions. But as soon as it's the meme headline and the captions, it feels a bit crushed.
Yeah, gotcha. But I guess in the first 2 seconds, like we talked before, a couple weeks ago about how to hack that hook rate, right? With the dog video. And it's just this probably crushes as an ad. Mm-hmm. But having that thing, also having it more towards the center means I can't avoid it. While it feels cluttered, I'm also forced to experience it because it's not in this dead space. Mm-hmm. So there's probably some decision made along the lines of I need you to see.
I also think the reason they've done this is because Meta is the worst with 4x5 video creative. Let's be totally honest, they push 4x5 all the time, and yet they still crop it into a square. What's the deal there? I don't quite understand that. So I think what you'll find is when this is viewed on the feed, that is probably actually well framed.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. And so then my second question is that the end of this ad, there's a ton, it feels busy to me, but I feel like there are decisions being made, and it's there's a ton of text on the screen. Maybe that has to be done for legal reasons, but that CTA at the end here, we've talked, last week about the CTA on the static image, and before that, with the pet, there was no real CTA. So can you walk me through just sort of how you're looking at this CTA? I love that it's animated, it's fun, but it's also sort of almost feels just bolted on.
It's very corporate. It's very corporate, And I think part of the reason, this bottom text for sure, they probably have to have because it's to do with finance. So I think you're
Sure.
right on that point. And I think to make it easier, what they should have done here when we're talking about design here is these bottom cards here, like the orange card. What they should have done here is this text here should have been on just a block color. It shouldn't really have stuff behind it. That's what's making it feel busy here. And again, probably kind of this, not so much up here with the start your free trial, not so much, but yeah, definitely this bottom is making it feel very busy, but it does feel bolted on. Correct, 100%. And I think that's potentially what it could be, is they just have to have this, like they have to have this end screen because they have to say all this corporate stuff. So they've just tried to do it in a designy way. There's probably better ways to do it, but yeah, I think they could just, elevate that design a little bit just by, blocking a color at the bottom for those terms of service.
Yeah, and to be fair, I've probably made my decision by the time I'm 18 seconds in. So, like,
yeah, I mean, nobody.
This isn't the reason the AdWords are fair.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. Yeah, nobody is watching all the way to the end, and you can actually see in the ad copy at the bottom of the ad copy they have the exact same
Gotcha.
terms of service.
All the same like disclaimers and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I think that I just caught myself doing this. I've been in recording studios sometimes, and I had this bass player who used to play in the English beat and the specials and stuff. And he introduced me to this term called fly fucking. And sometimes you get down to the point where you're making decisions so minute. The only person in the room that knows what you're doing is the fly that you're fucking. Like, nobody else is aware of anything that's going on. And it's like, at some point, yes, that'll make this better visually here, but is that going to move the needle? And I think we have to make the determination as artists to know when to just walk away.
Yeah, and I think we always say this. I always say this, but that at that point you're making an advert for a marketer and not for a customer, right? That's the point there where you should always be creative for your customer because they're the people that are consuming it. And like a lot of the time, listen, we make like 400 ads a month, right? And the amount of times that I have told my team, take a step back, just leave it. Like, you're going to, like that, they might bring me over to the desk and they're like, can you notice this? And I'm like, yeah, but that's because I know what I'm looking for. And that, 100%. I love that saying that sometimes you just need to step away and just think, the only reason I can see this, the only reason I care about this is because I made this.
Yeah. I think I'll end it with this. There's a quote from David Gilmour, Pink Floyd. Mm-hmm. And this like freed me artistically. He's like, people been learning my mistakes for decades. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Gotcha. I didn't know until you told me that. Got it. Love it. All right, cool, man. This is awesome. Thank you so much, dude. And we'll make sure to drop a link down to this. We'll do the brief. We'll drop in CreativeOS as well. All of your good stuff, man. This is fantastic. Another banger. This one literally got my jaw open. There's like 3 seconds in. You can't do better than that. I love it. All right, great. I'll see you next week, buddy.